ago, I had dinner with my friend, past us to be specific. And midway dinner, my friend suddenly gave me a weird comment. Hey, you have the most Instagram posts than anyone I simply know. And while I was eating my pasta, I tilted up my head to see the wincing eyebrow, my silent reproach with how random simply her comment was. An 18-year-old girl with a lot of Instagram posts. As pedestrian that comment may seem like, that made me reflect for a really long time. And I discovered and went through all my friends and their social media posts after the dinner to spy on what was on their feed. And an interesting point here, because occasionally only one or two feeds or photos that they have uploaded previously would linger on their feeds. And for most of my friends, they would simply have no Instagram posts up there. And this is quite an interesting observation for me because as a zealous and passionate dancer myself, I also have a Dancestagram where I post my past Instagram dancing posts as like a way to keep a record of my dancing moves. But as time passed and my skills have improved over time, the past inconsistencies or hesitancies that I see so starkly in my movement cannot be tolerated anymore for me. So that is why, similarly to the grand majority of my friends, I start to take down my Instagram posts. I think this is an example of how my friend also has expressed to me previously, hey, I only want to keep the best versions of myself on social media. I don't want people to show that I looked when I was younger because it's like a bit of a cringe too, you know. And I think this personal anecdote perfectly demonstrates how the perception from others, how the people watch you and see you and be judgmental of you can be so much detrimental in the keeping and preserving your authenticity. As I watch my and review my social media accounts, I demonstrated myself of how I was losing the myself and the authenticity that I was holding previously, and how dangerous the perception of others could be, and how significant it impacts the lives of a teenage girl. I have two more examples of how detrimental this perception of others could be. The first is my grandmother. I'm not only a senior in this Zoom call, but also a senior real life high school, 12th grade to be specific. So this is a time of the era where I'm dwelled on with high school, Common App, and going into college. And as an early application, I got into USC, University of Southern California, and it was such a fit school for me. I was satisfied with where I got accepted to, and I'm pretty much proud of myself. But after I shared that to my grandmother took 2 days to create this long bunch fat cow message on her Instagram and cow on her DMs to send it to my mother saying that, hey, I don't want you to send your kid to USC because I'm not proud of that. And that hurt me very much. It created so much emotional distress in terms of how her expectation and perception of social stigma going into the not being able to go into the best universities and the best elite universities that she initially expected me to go to. And this is an idea of how much perception has impacted my grandmother, how she would not only congratulate me for going into such a great school, but rather reproach me and rather criticize me for not being able to achieve my best in my capabilities. And I think this is the way in which you lose authenticity and the love that you could give to your family once the perception of others becomes such a great factor that influences your life. The second example is just generally talking about the grand scheme of South Korea, how we are the greatest consumers of luxurious items today, just because how important perception of others are in the society. For example, my boyfriend previously had rented a Porsche, even if it was too expensive for him as a young boy in his 20s, just because he thought the perception of others looking at his car, looking at his luxurious items was so important. And these type of agendas and mentalities led South Korea to become the greatest luxurious consumers in the world, despite having such a small population. And I think in these ways, these all show how the perception of others can be detrimental and makes us lose the authenticity that makes us unique and special in the ways that we are. Very proud.